Okay, hello guys, welcome to another video. Today we are going more deep into our departure part of our flight, and let's talk about how we can perform the takeoff, because it is not as simple as it looks like. We can divide our discussion into 3 or 4 different parts. The first one is we will discuss what speeds are we using. Then we may discuss the procedure, for example noise abatement procedure, which one is applicable for us, and then the sequence and the proper flap retraction schedule. So let's jump to the first part, the Wii Speeds. The Wii Speeds there are plenty of Wii Speeds for discussion, but for our flight simulator purpose we just need to know that we have V1, V rotate and V2. First two speeds are related to physical length of the runway, and according to our electronic flight back computation or runway analysis, or if we put the QRH, the speeds are trying to be as close as possible to our ground speed or true airspeed. The takeoff safety speed, which is V2, is always indicated airspeed. I put right now range hours because in this situation we can see that our V1 differs from our rotate speed within the 10 knots exactly. Why? Because if we have wet runway, our accelerated stop distance required will be higher than our takeoff distance required. So that means that if we decided to stop our airplane, we need more runway than we decided if we continue the takeoff. So at V1, if we decided to stop the airplane, the aquaplaning at wet runway is the factor that reduce our takeoff decision speed, which is V1. As we have V rotate, we smoothly rotate the airplane and following the next sequence which I am talking about. So once we have positive rate, we put the gear up. At 400 feet radio altitude we put the roll mode. The roll mode depends of the nature of our standard instrument departure. So we may put L now, we may put heading select. Heading select always it's related to, for example, our air traffic control tell us that they have conflicted traffic within our departure, so after departure make it with the right turn and heading, for example, 050. Okay, so at 400 feet you put heading select and desired heading. After this 400 feet we continue with the takeoff, and we are going to our climb reduction altitude. At this reduction altitude we verify with the FMA annunciation, because we have automatic thrust reduction, that N1 appears on FMA. At 3000 feet we start to accelerate the airplane with a scheduled, and once we have flap retracted we can put the desired mode. So we now level change vertical speed and couple the autopilot. For captain it's autopilot A, for copilot is autopilot B. Okay, so this was the sequence. Remember, the shortest runway we have, the higher flap setting we are using. If we have a long runway, we may use a lower flap setting, especially if we have, for example, obstacle just within our departure end of the runway. so we need to do the improved climb technique, and we use lower flap setting. For our today demonstration I will use flaps 5 setting, but what's the retraction schedule? Retraction schedule is like this one. Once you have V2 plus 15, this is the white bar on the speed tape. We can go from flaps 15 to flaps 5. As we reach the green flaps 5 symbol, we can retract from flaps 5 to flaps 1. Once we reach flaps 1 symbol, we can retract from flaps 1 to flaps up. So this is the schedule. Okay? And now we are discussing what is the profile exactly. Well, today we have 3 different options, or let's say 4, how it looks like. If you look at the Takeoff reference page number 2, you have engine out acceleration height. This is your company procedure. The companies I flew for, we use 800 feet above ground level. Okay, it's clear so far. If we do a normal takeoff with 2 engines operative, we are using noise abatement procedures, and that may differs. We may use noise abatement procedure NADP1 and NADP2. What does it mean? NADP1 is that our thrust reduction altitude will be 800 feet and acceleration height above the ground level will be 3000 feet. If we use NADP2 procedure, that means that the acceleration height above ground level and the thrust reduction is the same, it's 800. Most of the European airports are using the former NADPA procedure. That means that 3000 feet will be our acceleration height and 1500 will be our thrust reduction height. Remember, it's about the ground level. As we are currently in Lima Zulu India Bravo Airport and at 400 feet, that means that at 1900 feet we verify that we have N1 and thrust is reducing. At 3400 feet we may start accelerate the airplane. I hope it is clear enough. What is the cutback? Cutback procedure is the Boeing program, especially it's counting when you suddenly lose your engine, you meet the minimum certified requirement climb gradient with the cutback thrust setting, but this is for another discussion. Okay, so I hope I will discuss everything. What I would like to point out regarding to the autopilot engage, yes, you may engage autopilot for example at busy airports like Amsterdam, London Heathrow, Oslo Gardermoen and so on, in order to reduce the workload of the pilot flying and as well pilot monitoring. We couple the autopilot as soon as possible. That means for next generation 400 feet RA, for classics 1000 feet RA. But anyway, today we are following the normal Boeing procedure, and we are going to use the flaps 5 for our demonstration. At the end of the video, we will come back to our takeoff position, and we may do it like VNAV LNAV from the ground, and thereafter I will tell you why we are not using VNAV from the ground, but many companies are using VNAV from ground and it's not prohibited. But there could be some special reason. I will check our IRS is almost aligned. There is one thing I want to mention about the speed trim system. The speed trim systems is working shortly after takeoff and during our approach and landing under circumstances. They have to be meet some requirements in order for automatic stabilizer trimming without our input responses. But again, this is for another discussion. Okay, I hope IRSs will be aligned soon and we may start our takeoff. So configure the flaps 5 for takeoff. 1, 2 and 5. That's okay. We may release the parking brakes. Never put parking brakes on the active runway. We have flaps 5, verify with the green light. And I will once check it with the IRS is okay. There is missing our airport. Now we are okay. So back to the takeoff page. And yeah, we are good to go for our takeoff. So 40% and 1. Let's stabilize the engine. As we can see, the engines are pretty stable. Press toggle button for takeoff. Verify N1 toga is on FMA annunciation. Takeoff thrust is set. We have 80 knots. Checked. V1. Rotate. Smoothly. Rotate. When positive, rate gear up. Do not go about 20 degree of pitch attitude. It's the limitation. Okay, we are about 400 feet, so put the L now. At 1900 feet, which is approximately right now, so we have thrust reduction, N1. And at 3400 set back up first. And now we have V2 plus 15, so we can put flaps from 5 to 1. We have flaps 1 indication, so we can put flaps up. And once we have flaps up no light, we can put VNAV and we can couple the autopilot. Okay, so this was the normal sequence. Now we jump back to our takeoff position and discuss takeoff with LNAV VNAV, which is more comfortable for us. Okay, friends, we are back on the departure runway. We are waiting for align our IRSs. We have 1 minute to go. So now we can discuss LNAV VNAV departure. Yes, you can do it. You are allowed to do it. LNAV from the ground to be armed is more or less okay. Nothing against about this, but VNAV is a little bit tricky from to have the coupled from the ground, or let's say to be armed from the ground. If you are departing with the VNAV, remember that in some phase of the after takeoff, it reverts to VNAV speed, and the flight director will keep the speed V2 plus 15 or plus plus 20 depending on the option you have. If you are starting to retract the flaps, the bug is going with your flap retraction schedule. But if you leave it in automatic, let's say if you leave it until acceleration height above the ground level, so it will automatically, if there is no restriction, go to flaps 230 indicated, and you may start accelerate the airplane. Why we are not using, or why most of the companies are not using a VNAV from the ground? It's basically because if you see your engine out acceleration rate, if you lose the engine during the takeoff, you need first the identify failure, then verify the failure of the engine, then perform the memory items. And it may happen that your airplane, as it is in VNAV, may start to accelerate and mess up with your procedures which you don't have complete yet. So this is the reason why most of the companies are not using VNAV from the ground. But anyway, it's up to you. You do not break no rules. If you feel comfortable to use VNAV from the ground, use it. I just tell you the reason why I am not comfortable to use the VNAV from the ground. But for today we are going to use the VNAV. I guess we are good to go. We have flaps 5 as before, and I think that we can go. So stable engines. Okay, we have approximately 40% and one toga. Okay, 80 knots we have checked.
E1. Rotate. Positive rate of climb.
So we have gear up, so you can see we have L now on active mode on FMA, and now you can see we have VNAV speed. And again, speed trim system is automatically trimming the airplane for us, because we are quite heavy on the aft position. So we have climb reduction N1. And as you can see, now we have 230 indicated. So that means that if we have skew detection on our leading edge devices, we can go to maximum 230 indicated. This is our limit. So as soon as we have flaps up and no light, you will see 250 indicated right now with the VNAV, and we can engage the autopilot. So it's really simple to depart with Boeing 737, but you have to realize what procedure is more comfortable for you. Okay. I think it was clear enough so far, and see you on next video.